on with the 43 ministers' portfolio confirmed by President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday inside the Federal Executive Council chambers, Presidential Villa in Abuja. Amongst the appointees of former Akwa Ibom State Governor Godswill Akpabio, senior lawyer Festus Keyamo, ex-Benue State Governor George Akume. Is this satisfactory to the people or not? Will the next level squad of the Buhari administration deliver on its promises to a stable economy and jobs, improve security? Can it stop corruption as the index steadily increases? What if the government surpasses what it promised the people? What then? Data feeds are coming through in one place simultaneously on all our social media platforms, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channels, where you can follow us live on m.channelstv.com and on Facebook as well. We've got all our platforms and social media covered. Be part of the show. Tweet at Gimba Umar CTV. Use the hashtag State of the Nation and join the conversation. The Kogi State National Assembly and State Assembly has indeed made some adjustments. Recently, we're just getting this information. Dino Melaye, the senator representing Kogi West Senatorial District, has been given the boot. Will this suffice in the coming days? By Justice Anthony Chijioke, the tribunal, in a unanimous judgment, ordered fresh elections in the senatorial district. Senator Dino Melaye of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, was the winner in the February 2019 National Assembly elections, but Senator Smata Deyemi of the All Progressives Congress approached the tribunal and challenged Dino's victory. How does this affect the senator who has declared intention to run for the governorship seat from the North Central State in September 5th primaries? It's prime time here in Lagos, and this is State of the Nation. Welcome everyone in Nigeria and across the world. I am Gimba Umar and this is State of the Nation. On Wednesday, President Muhammadu Buhari assigned portfolios to ministers with thoughts by many on the key area of security. Of particular interest is the Defense Minister, the Minister of Police Affairs and the Minister of Interior. Together with the service chiefs, they have a lot burning on their plate. Let's take a look at some of the concerns or challenges, if you will, that they will contend with. They will be contending with kidnappings and banditry, insurgency in the northeast by Boko Haram, internally displaced persons, farmers' herders crisis, communal crisis, especially between the Tiv and the Benue people, the Jukans and the Jukans from Taraba and the Tiv from Benue State. Now, from January to April this year, these are the stats that we have at hand. 685 persons were killed as a result of insecurity in the northern part of the country, 80% of which is from Zamfara State alone. Clearly, this calls for strategy formulation between the Ministers of Defense, Interior, and Police Affairs. Let's focus on this a little bit. Ibrahim Ado is a professor of Security Systems Engineering. He joins us from our Abuja studios. Much later, we'll also have Colonel Yomi Dare, retired. He will join us from Lagos Island at some point. But I must thank you so much indeed for joining us from Abuja. Let's begin with your thoughts on this. This newly appointed ministers, the Minister of Interior, Ralph Aregbesola, he has said that he knows very little of the policies and operations of his ministry, saying that all he knows about the ministry, he read it from the newspapers. Should Nigerians be concerned from his submissions? Okay, if you can hear me now, I was just asking you about the Minister of Interior from Abuja Studios, if we could get that corrected. But this is a big one for him, Ralph Aregbesola. He has indeed said that he knows very little about the workings and operations of the Ministry of Interior. Do you think that Nigerians should be concerned having raised that point by the minister himself?
Yeah. Hello?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, the nation is supposed to be concerned about the comment of the minister. But there is that platform of people not knowing the duty of a minister. The minister is supposed to supervise what is the concept of, or the concept and rules of the presidency. The president himself, the policy framework of the president, and supervise and return back or report back to the president. But in so doing, if he has come out to say, yeah, I am not conversant with the policies and framework of the ministry, then we should look internally. We should look internally. We should look at the views that concealed between the presidency, the communication view, the rapport, the training that is supposed to have undergone before he's sworn in as a minister. Yeah, the minister, the president just appoint people based on personal and political affiliation. I think that is the issue that has to do with what we have today and what he is saying. If he has gone through the preview of the ministry for maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks before his appointment or his inauguration, he will have been familiar with the policy frameworks. But you also don't blame him because we don't even have security laws. What some of us are supposed to be advocating for is security laws. And these security laws are not there. And any nation built without security infrastructures and structures, the foundations are very weak because that is the basics. That is the basis of our unification, our country, our nation entirely encompasses without look at tribe, religion, or any other value.
Okay, you don't want us to pretty much look at the sentiments that may be attached with who becomes who, according to how Mr. President has appointed his ministers and given them the portfolios. But let me get the thoughts of Yomi Dare. He joins us via Skype from Lagos Island. Colonel, this is very trying for a lot of people. The kind of comments that we're saying is one that seems to suggest that perhaps we're having square pegs in round holes. Is that the situation with the Minister of Interior?
First of all, I would like to say thank you, Jimba, for having me on board. And we thank Nigerians for their patience. And I want to believe that finally all hands are right on deck since the ministers have been appointed so that we can move forward. Talking about square pegs in round holes. As far as I'm concerned, you don't have to be you don't have to go to any school. With particular subjects, it's all about leadership, And when you are being specific about the Ministry of Interior, I'm aware that the minister that has just been appointed for the Interior was the immediate past governor of Osun State. And as far as I'm concerned, this is leadership. If a man can govern a state, why can't he manage a ministry? So that is my take.
So one major challenge recently with internal security is the issue of the IMN, very clearly. Their leader, El Zezeki, is released under close supervision by the government, of course. You know that as well. But how well is that being handled when you look at that as a internal security challenge?
Well, talking about El Zezeki, I believe that the ministry or the agencies that are responsible for that aspect of security, I'm sure they know exactly what to do when it comes to managing these particular VIP suspects. So I want to believe that they know exactly what to do with him.
Okay, let's get back to Abuja with Professor Ado. Now, you are a professor. you have the expertise. As a matter of fact, you've written about this repeatedly. When you look at the issue of border control and the porosity of our borders across the country, especially up north and then even going down south, the east is not faring any better. It seems to suggest it's a barrage of likely scenarios that could be very harmful to our country. Do you think that the security architecture of this country needs a total overhaul, a rejig perhaps? So many people have talked about that.
Good, Jimba. There is the security architecture of the nation entirely has not been developed. We have not even tapped on the security, the structure. We have not developed the structures and the infrastructure of security in Nigeria. We don't need a kit blow over that. We all know that the templates of security has not been put in place, unless we decide to deceive ourselves. But the truth is there is more work to be done. There is more work to be done on security. We start with the designs of security. We start with the development of security infrastructures and structures. These are the things we have to do first. Nigeria is a very lovely nation. We have to be very frank with that. It's a very lovely nation, but a lot of things has been done to compromise the unity and security of this nation. Nobody is to be blamed because they said ignorance is a very big token to knowledge. So we have to bring up knowledgeable people, go back to the drawing board, design Nigerian security system. Because no system is existing for now. No good system. To be very frank with you,
if you say no security system is in existence now, a lot of people may want to come against that. But
no, when I said no.
Okay, clarify that, please.
When I said no security system is on the ground, it really does not mean that we don't have a security architecture, but we're not following the templates. We need to follow the templates. As soon as we get the templates, we could put up a very good design and develop into it, which we will tap into it. We have not built from citizen and human rights security. We have not even gone to business and economic security. We have not gone to political security. We have not gone to environmental security. We have not gone to industrial security. We have not gone to productive security. We have not even lived the first step to go to security and the press. We have not even go to protective security. So we are rounding. We are not on the round clock yet.
It seems that there's just so much to be done. And then going by what you have said, it will seem to suggest that they really have to, get their thinking caps, especially for those new ministers, and get the security situation under control, especially. But when you look at so many issues that we're facing at the moment. Well, Colonel Dari, wade into this one, if you will. One major challenge also that lingers is that of the insurgency in the northeast. The government has repeatedly said that it has technically defeated Boko Haram with the new Minister of Police Affairs, the Minister of Interior, Minister of Defense. Those three, do you think they have plenty of work to do?
Jimba, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt that these ministers have a lot in their hands. And I would rather suggest that it's good they just settle in and face it squarely, because there's no begging the issue at all. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot.
Okay, we're going to go on a short break now, but not to worry. We still have more concerning security as we get them coming through. We understand that 685 people have been killed from January to April of this year alone. The continuation of an update in those figures we've not gotten from the police authorities, hoping that the police will be listening now and try to get us up to speed with what they have. But we'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll look more on the security challenges. It's a barrage of them, including the internally displaced persons in the Northeast and the farmers' herders crisis. What does Ruga mean to everyone? Join us again. Welcome back to State of the Nation. The president on Tuesday told incoming ministers that all requests for meetings with him should pass through the Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari. Yomidari, could you help us analyze this and understand how deep this statement by Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, is on the heels of the need to close the ranks and speed up the process, especially when it comes to information management between the ministers and the presidency?
Well, Jimba, I have read about that directive, and it depends on how one interprets it. But my take here is that as the president and commander-in-chief, well, he has his modus operandi, and he probably understands the reason why he has said so. But I want to believe that notwithstanding, I think the ministers, they will still have access to the CNC, to the commander-in-chief. But probably procedurally, there are certain things that maybe, they want to, maybe it comes bulky, and then part of the procedure is to probably channel it through the chief of staff. And of course, if you go into the whole concept of appointment of a chief of staff, well, since our system is being tailored towards the American system of government, you find out that I think it was also copied from there. So, I mean, it depends on how he intends to manage his kitchen. That's my take.
Professor, a lot of people are really concerned, because Mr. President's comments concerning this meeting, if they have to get through to meet with him, do you think that process will slow down what would have ordinarily been a speedy process in getting things done in this second administration of President Muhammadu Buhari?
Well, my take is on if the chief of staff is the administrative head to the president, the question of him saying every submission should be made to the chief of staff don't come to question, because one is the administrative head. He organized the administrative secretariat of the president, and he has that stake to brief the president on everything. That really don't mean that all the ministers will not speak to Mr. President. They have to meet him when other important issues are coming up. But if you say the president must attend to every issue that are being submitted to him, then the burden of work will be so much on him. If the administrative head has to get most of the report from the ministers who are the members of the Federal Executive Council, I think they could narrow down most of these things that are happening, because proactive decisions will be taken. There's Federal Executive meetings are being held every Wednesday of the week, and that will make them set up an agenda, and it will lead them to attain what maybe they will not have attained if briefings are being held by the president alone, because some of the things will be left out.
I'm sure you also heard. I'm sure you also heard about the unfortunate situation we had in Taraba State that has to do with a certain kidnapped kingpin. But one major link to that story is how well the security agencies are able to collaborate themselves and crystallize what would have come across as a joint, effort to try to stamp people who are committing crimes across the area there in Taraba, as a matter of fact. But how well did that work for you? What can you tell us? Was there enough collaboration between the army and the police? In this case, 2, we understand, of the police officers were killed in that process.
The problem we have here is that of the synergy. Do we have, do the security bodies have a synergy? Do they have a synergy? Do they have that platform where they have to collaborate and fight one goal? I think that is what is the problem. The problem is the synergy is not there. So there is a disconnect. And the moment there is a disconnect in security, then you create a loophole. And most of these loopholes are what the criminals take opportunity or take advantage of. So the moment that the military and the police and other internal security and external security bodies has this synergy, then information network will go. Then we have intelligent gathering, which will be very smooth because you cannot transfer information from one web to the other. Here we don't have even the security languages. It is unfortunate we don't have security languages. So everybody goes on one mission using a different path. And at the end of it, there is a conflict. The conflict may be a conflict of interest because I want to achieve it. The other man wants to achieve it. It's not as if we want to achieve it collectively. I think that is the issue that has happened in Taraba and between the police and the military men. But if the synergy is built, then there will be no disconnect. The communication link will be smooth.
Okay, let's get to Yobi Dare since he's with us and he has been on the field and he knows because he's been with the military himself. Colonel Dare, do you think that situation could have been averted if the police had reported to the command in the state before carrying out their coveted operation?
Yes, Jimba, I recall I came on air. I was invited on the same platform, even though it was from Abuja, and I expressed, my candid opinion on what I felt went wrong in the Taraba incident. And I'm glad that the investigative panel, is on, and through investigations, a lot of things have come into light. I'm also glad that the suspect, has been arrested. Be that as it may, one thing I want to say clearly here is that, as far as I'm concerned, talking about synergy, I think the military and the police, they have really tried. But one thing is that no matter how hard you try, occasional setbacks are inevitable. And look at the police and the military relationship. It has improved over time. It is not as bad as it used to be. And it's still, I believe it's still a work in progress and that it will improve. And especially with this last incident, I believe both organizations have learned one or two lessons, Personally, I want to take from my experience whilst in service. I recall that as a military police officer, even up till date, I have a lot of friends, in the police, and we exchange intelligence, and we work together quite well. You see, but sometimes, somehow, I believe the rank and file, there's still a lot that needs to be done about the rank and file so that they can understand that there is no competition. There is no competition, whether we like it or not. When it comes to internal security, the police remains the lead agency.
So let me take this as your final word then. What then should these three ministers do to try to cement or crystallize, if you will, the kinds of synergy that should be established between them, such that internal security of this country or mistaken identity, whatever you may call it, as we saw in the terrible instance. What must they do to curtail this?
Well, my final word is that the three ministers must find a convergence. They must ensure that they get together maybe once in a quarter or once in a month, and then exchange notes. And then because they are both, they are all working towards the same goal. They shouldn't see themselves working across opposites, because here there's no competition. What we are craving for is peace, peaceful coexistence, and one Nigeria. That is my take.
Okay, let me also get your, just before we go, let me also get your closing thoughts, Professor Ibrahim Ado. What must the ministers do to try to ensure that we crystallize a relationship and synergy that works for everybody and curtail issues of, crime and criminality, especially in the north?
I think the first thing they have to do is to work in synergy. The Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Police Affairs, the Interior Ministry, and the National Security Advisor's Office. They have to work in tandem to see how they can contain this. The world has grown from what we call human intelligence to electronic intelligence. And we should not start fighting from what is totally absolute today. But if these four bodies can come together, I think we will find a solution to our cause.
That's a good place
and
to let it rest.
We need to
I'm
build
afraid
what we call
that's a good place to
security.
let it rest. I must sincerely apologize for that. Ibrahim Adoy, Professor of Security Systems Engineering from our Abuja studios, as well as Colonel Yomi Dairo, retired, who joined us from Lagos. Many thanks indeed via Skype. And to you for being part of the show. I want to thank you so much indeed for watching. Join me same time next week for a fresh package. I am Gimba Omar and this is State of the Nation. Bye for now.